A sunny morning, the one act play, due to some technical errors, page number 43 and 44 were not relayed properly. Hence, I am here to send you the YouTube class. As all of you know, that two characters, Gonzalo and Laura, are there in the park, and they have been talking each other, and later their usual conversation starts after taking a pinch of snuff, and then Gonzalo starts reading and he quotes some of the sentences where the relationship like love and the familiarity with regard to characters whom he had met earlier were echoed by reading the lines from the books of the Spanish writers. Further, when he describes, he speaks of his old journey, travel through sea route to America, and he quotes Columbus, and he also speaks of Ferdinand and Isabella, the king and queen of Spain, and he says that he was a friend of Campoamor, met him in Valencia, and he was a native of that city. Till this, you have the video, and you can go through once again and just recollect what that the characters speak and how do they come to know each other, that they had met somewhere in the past, but there was no direct revelation of their identity. They don't reveal themselves. But of course, they had the doubt with regard to the sentences like 20 years pass, all love is sad, the daughters of the mothers I once loved kiss me now as they would a graven image, etc. Now, page number 42, where once again the city Maricela that has been echoed, and Valencia there was a villa which was covered by lemon and orange trees. The garden he mentioned, she mentioned, Laura mentioned. So Valencia, that was quoted by Gonzalo, and even Laura is also supporting the same statement by quoting some of the trees like lemon and orange, and the garden and the old house, and Maricela, the place. And Gonzalo is also very much surprised to listen to those names and the place, the villa, the trees. Further, when it is continued, Gonzalo speaks of the very beautiful woman whom he had met in the past there in Maricela, and her name was Laura Laurent. And Laura also got surprised to listen to the name, and Gonzalo said that she was described she was called the Silver Maiden. The description was available from Laura, and for which Gonzalo has said that, yes, exactly, precisely, she was described the Silver Maiden. Then, where was she always? That also Laura and Gonzalo spoke in page number 42. Now, coming to 43, she was ideal, fair as a lily, jet black hair and black eyes. With an uncommonly sweet expression, she seemed to cast radiance wherever she was. Her figure was beautiful, perfect. What forms of sovereign beauty God models in human clay? She was a dream. Now Gonzalo recollected the very incident, the event that had taken place in the past, and the character he remembered, all the moments that he recollected. Hence, he says she was ideal. She was a very beautiful girl and very ideal beauty that she had, and there was no comparison to the beauty and the character of the very lady. To that lady, there was no comparison. Fair as a lily, very beautiful as a lily, jet black hair, very black colored hair, and black eyes, uncommonly sweet expression. She had a very good expression on the face, and that was also unusual. She seemed to cast radiance wherever she was, and she was ideal, for which all these descriptions are available. She seemed to cast means spread radiance, shining appearance wherever she was. Her figure was beautiful and it was very perfect, he said. What forms of sovereign beauty God models in human clay? So, because of the very sentence, she was ideal, he has said at last, Gonzalo has said, what forms of sovereign beauty God models in human clay? Human clay means human shape. And in the shape of a human being, she was very par excellent, sovereign beauty in the sense, very excellent, very beautiful. God models. Models means God shapes in human clay. In human shape, God in human condition, God has shaped a very excellent character and a very good human being. She was a dream. One cannot imagine such a human being at all. Such was the appearance and such was the quality that she had, Gonzalo has said here. Now aside, Laura, if you but knew that dream was now by your side, you would realize what dreams come to. Then aloud, she was very unfortunate and had a sad love affair. For the description of Gonzalo, Laura speaks, saying that aside, without talking directly to Gonzalo, by being aside, she tells herself, if you but means if you only knew that dream was now by your side, you would realize what dreams come to. Come to means what dreams come to realization. Gonzalo doesn't know that she is Laura. Only the guesswork, because of the descriptions, the doubts start, the guess starts, all these are available, but directly both the characters do not tell each other. And that is why, if at all he had come to know that the lady whom he had seen at present is the lady whom he had met in the past, what would be his feelings? Hope that you have understood. If you but knew that dream was now by your side, you would realize what dreams come to. Usually what happens is that whatever that takes place or whatever that is available in our dream, we consider that they are all false. They are all just like a mirage or illusion, and they are not real, and in reality that doesn't take place. But if it takes place, what will be the feeling of a particular character is the question that Laura asks. If you but knew that dream was now by your side, you would realize what dreams come to. Even dreams sometimes become true. The fact that Laura speaks here. And if at all he comes to know now that this lady is the lady whom he had met in the past, what would be his feelings is a question that she has put forward. She was very unfortunate and had a sad love affair is the fact, the truth that she has revealed in front of Gonzalo. Later, what happened after the meeting between the lady and the very man, the very cousin of Gonzalo, and the very friend of Laura, the silver maiden, and that person, the cousin of Gonzalo, after their meeting, after their close relationship, what had happened, for which she had said she was a very unfortunate and had a sad love affair she has revealed now. Very sad, Gonzalo said. They look at each other once again. Did you hear of it? Laura asked. Very sad, Gonzalo expressed. Did you hear of it? Did you come to know anything about the sad love affair of Laura and Gonzalo? Yes. The ways of providence are strange. So once again they place everything on luck, on God. The ways of providence are strange aside. Gonzalo. Now Laura has been confirmed and she exclaimed, Gonzalo, there is an exclamation mark. The ways of providence are strange. So what does luck do? What role that luck plays that we cannot tell. Just as Laura has told Gonzalo now that dreams sometimes become true. Dreams sometimes come to reality, materialize fact, materialization that takes place or it gets into reality, for which Laura has said the evidence are strange. Luck plays an important role and sometimes these factors become true. And at this moment, Laura has been confirmed that this is Gonzalo. The gallant lover, brave lover, says Gonzalo, in the same affair, the very relationship between Gonzalo and Laura, the lady, and the very person, the cousin of Gonzalo, Lady Silver Maiden. The duel, Laura remembered. Precisely the duel, exactly. The sword fight. The gallant lover was my cousin, of whom I was very fond. The gallant lover was none other than the cousin of Gonzalo. The Gonzalo has given the description, of whom I was very fond. I was very much interested in. I liked him very much, he said. Laura. Oh, yes, a cousin. My friend told me in one of her letters the story of that affair, which was truly romantic. He, your cousin, passed by on horseback every morning down the rose path under her window and tossed up to her balcony a bouquet of flowers which she caught. Now Laura gives the description. Yes, a cousin. Right, it is correct. She has said, oh yes, a cousin. Question mark is there. Means the rhetorical answer is that a cousin of this person. Yes, correct. My friend told me in one of her letters the story of that affair. So the letter was coming to the character. My friend told me in one of her letters the story of that love affair, which was truly romantic. So the relationship was going on through letters after this duel for some time, which was truly romantic. Whilst reading that, she had become quite emotional and she understood the relationship. He, your cousin, passed by on horseback every morning down the rose path under the window. Her window means window of Laura, in other words, the silver maiden, the friend of Laura, and tossed up to her balcony a bouquet, bunch of flowers which she caught. And this was going on, and all those were described in the letters also. Gonzalo. And later in the afternoon, the gallant horseman would return by the same path and catch the bouquet of flowers. She would toss him, am I right? Now Gonzalo also recollected and he also spoke of the fact that in the evening he was coming back on the same route by the same path, and at that time the silver maiden was giving back the bouquet of flowers which she would toss him, which she would give him and throw him, and he would catch. Am I right? Yes, agreed. Laura agreed. They wanted to marry her to a merchant whom she would not have. She would not have means loved. Yes, agreed, Laura. They means parents. wanted to marry her to a merchant whom she would not have loved. But the problem started actually because of the fact that parents were not interested in giving in marriage Laura. Parents were not interested in giving in marriage Laura to Gonzalo, or the silver maiden to that particular man, the cousin of Gonzalo, and that was the reason the problem started. Wanted to marry her to a merchant whom she would not have loved, which we have to understand. Gonzalo. And one night, when my cousin waited under her window to hear her sing, this other person means merchant, presented himself unexpectedly. So what happened later? How did the duel start, the fight start? The reason, the incidents are described by Gonzalo also. That is, one night when my cousin waited under her window means the silver maiden Laura, her to hear her sing, this other person unexpectedly came there. Next page. And insulted your cousin, Laura said. There was a quarrel, Laura, and later a duel, sword fight. Naturally, this takes place. Yes, at sunrise on the beach, and the merchant was badly wounded. My cousin had to conceal himself for a few days and later to fly. Now, Gonzalo has also agreed to, he is confirmed with what Laura has said. At sunrise on the beach, and the merchant was badly wounded. There was a sword fight because he did not like the very arrival of the merchant on the place, on the spot, and as a result of that, fight went on. And what happened later on the beach? In the morning, on the beach, and the merchant was badly wounded. On the beach, the body of the merchant was found. My cousin had to conceal himself for a few days and later to fly. As naturally as possible, the cousin would be suspected by the people of the locality, and as a result of that, he had to conceal or hide himself for a few days, and later he had to escape from the place, and that has been described by Gonzalo. This information has been given by Gonzalo. You seem to know the story well. So, in this statement, once again, we have understood that there is some familiarity between the two. Whatever Laura has said, whatever Gonzalo has said, both come to terms, come to an agreement, come to an understanding that both of know the story well, and there is some similarity. And so do you. You also know the story Gonzalo has said to Laura. Laura also agreed what Gonzalo has said. Gonzalo also agreed what Laura has said. I have explained that a friend repeated it to me. So, to conceal the very fact, Laura says, I have explained that a friend repeated it to me. In order to conceal the very fact, she has said, what fact? That she is Laura, she doesn't want to tell. He is Gonzalo, Gonzalo doesn't want to tell. And that is why I have explained that a friend repeated it to me. All these stories have been known by a friend, and she doesn't know more than that is the thought that she has given. As my cousin did to me. So Gonzalo had come to know all those stories from his cousin. Now aside, this is Laura. So you can understand in the previous page, Laura has said Gonzalo, and now Gonzalo says this is Laura. So both of them have been confirmed. Now aside, why tell him? He does not suspect. So why should I tell him that I am Laura? Says Laura. I don't want to reveal my identity. He does not suspect. He doesn't have suspicion. So remember, the very characters, they play the very important role, and they don't reveal, and they know themselves. Their Atma, their conscience speaks to them that this character is none other than the character they or he had seen and she had seen, both of them. And only thing is that they don't tell directly. Now Gonzalo aside, she is entirely innocent. Gonzalo aside says she is entirely innocent. Only Gonzalo thinks this, and Laura also thinks, probably thinks in the same manner, that he is entirely innocent. Now Laura, and was it you by any chance who advised your cousin to forget Laura? Laura asked the question. By any chance or by accident, by luck, you who advised your cousin to forget Laura? Immediately Gonzalo says, why, my cousin never forgot her. He hasn't forgotten. The reason to forget is something different that he describes later. It is not forgetting, but of course, because of the incident, the duel fight, what happened, that he is going to describe. And he hasn't forgotten, but of course, because of the reasons, because of the incidents, he had to run away from there, and he had to hush up the matter, and he should not reveal the matter to anybody. How do you account then for his conduct? So Laura, if he did not forget, if Gonzalo did not forget, how do you substantiate that remembrance? Asks Laura for this, for his conduct. Gonzalo tells Laura, I'll tell you, the young man took refuge in my house, fearful of the consequences of a duel with a person highly regarded in that locality. From my home, he went to Seville and then came to Madrid. He wrote Laura many letters, some of them in verse, but undoubtedly they were intercepted means stopped by her parents, for she never answered at all. Gonzalo then, in despair or in desolate situation, condition, helpless situation, despair means believing his love lost to him forever, joined the army, went to Africa, and there in a trench, in a ditch, met a glorious death, grasping the flag of Spain and whispering the name of his beloved Laura. So what happened after the duel? Gonzalo has said to Laura, what has happened, or what happened was that the young man took refuge in the house of Gonzalo, and he was known of the fact that the consequences would be very bad. And later what happened? He went to Seville, from there to Madrid, and wrote many letters in verse, but the letters did not reach Laura, and parents stopped the letters from her, and she did not answer, and she was not given the letter, she was not given the information of Gonzalo. And then what happened? In despair, the very lover, believing his love lost to him forever, joined the army, went to Africa, there in a trench, in a ditch, met a glorious death, grasping the flag of Spain. He held the flag of Spain, and whispering at that name, he gave respect to the nation, and then to the lover also, beloved Laura. He whispered, he quoted her name, and he did not forget. The very proof has been given by Gonzalo. Aside, what an atrocious lie. So very cruel lie. Atrocious means very cruel, very bad. So it is a very cruel lie that Laura says to Gonzalo. What that the description has been given by Gonzalo, that is a lie, says Laura, and this I cannot agree with. So I stop here because the rest of the videos you have seen already, and please read this video, please go through this video and read along with the book, so that you will understand it in a better way. Hope that you will get satisfied, and you can prepare for the comprehension questions. Thank you, students. Thank you, one and all.